Sometimes you want to modify a field on a record, but you just want to append text onto the field rather than overwriting the whole thing. Now, can you do this in LeanData? Yes, you can. So let's say, for example, I have a lead record here, and I've got things set up that it would stamp a routing trigger date every single time that a record gets routed, and stamp it with the current date that the routing happened. And what I would like to do is stamp when this lead was last routed, and you can see here that it's also stamped and updated on this description field whenever LeanData routes a record. But instead of wiping out the entire history of when this lead was routed and replacing it with the most recent, let's say I just want to add into this field. So let's say this lead was last routed on the 20th, and then let's say today is the 22nd, and I want to get this routed again today, but I want to stamp this value as another entry in this description field. That is something that we can actually do in LeanData using the update records node and the concept of variables. So what we'll do is we will need to go over to a LeanData graph. So we'll navigate over there, and I've got a very simple graph set up here. So for existing records, I have a trigger checkbox set up. So whenever this trigger LeanData routing box is checked to true, it will initiate routing. And then what it will do is it will stamp the current date into this routing trigger date field. And this is going to completely overwrite that field with the latest routing trigger date, and that's going to get stamped there. Then we have it proceed to a round robin. And then the last thing that we do here is we will append text. So we're going to be updating the description field, but since this overwrites the entire contents of the description field, what we actually want to do is first insert the current contents of the description field, and then after that, just add on the things that we want to add or append to that. So actually, let's do this from scratch so that we can follow along here. So I first want to take the current contents of the descriptions field so we don't lose the old values. So I'm going to go to Insert Variables, and then I'm going to take the description field from the routed lead and make sure that we drop the current value of that description field into the description field. By itself, this would actually do nothing. It would basically replace whatever text is in there with itself, but we're not done. I'm going to go ahead and hit Enter, and then I'm going to add another line, and I'm going to enter last routed on. And here I'm actually going to insert another value, and that's going to be the trigger date. So I will go ahead and insert that trigger date, and I'll expand this. And you can see the description field, once the routing is finished, it will contain the previous value, and then we'll add on the new trigger date and say last routed on whatever this trigger date is. So that's perfect. Let's go ahead and make sure we save this. We'll go ahead and hit done. And then on file, we will go hit save and deploy so that this new graph will be active now. Okay, once that's saved, I'm going to jump back over to my lead record. And remember, every time I click this trigger LeanData routing box, it's going to initiate routing. So I'll go ahead and click save, and I do have real-time routing turned on, so this should update immediately. You can see that the routing trigger date has updated to today. And then I scroll down and you can see here the last routed on 520, that original value, and then this new value appended onto it, last routed on 522. So I took the old value and I appended the new value, and this isn't just useful for only dates. You can really use this for anything that you want to, if you want to continue to add text to the existing field. And simply we did that by using the update record node, inserting the current contents of the field, and then adding on whatever you want to append afterwards. So I hope that helps.